Quiet on set!
And action!
Welcome back to the Quiet on Set podcast. I'm Jan Graf and I'm joined by Kevin Talmans. It's the last episode before Con, if you can't tell that we're sort of kind of losing it a little bit. And we each watched 3 different new releases separately. Kevin watched Mortal Kombat II, Fuze, and will tell you if the hype is warranted for the Sheep Detectives. Meanwhile, I watched... Thank you. Meanwhile, I watched The Devil Wears Prada 2, Hokum, and Remarkably Bright Creatures.
The Oscars announced their yearly changes, and it's worth taking a closer look.
So let's get into that straight away, Kevin. I think the Oscars and the Oscar season and award season has been sort of, for us, the bigger talking point that it's just going on too long. I think the change they should be make the award show in the middle of February, but the next 2 dates for the 99th and 100th edition of the festival, I think were already announced to be like early to middle of March yet again, which is disappointing. But there were some changes announced that I think are for the better. I think they are slightly improvements to certain things. Not that it's like for all of it to be like super relevant, but it might be interesting. So we'll give you a quick overview. First of all, in the actors and actresses, like lead supporting categories, it wasn't possible up to this point to be nominated for 2 different roles in the same category. You could be, supporting actress and supporting and lead actress, but you couldn't be twice in lead actress, twice in supporting. And there is a possibility for that in other categories. Like there's the case with Soderbergh 1 year where he was nominated twice and then won once. But now it's also possible you'll be nominated twice. Isn't that great? It sort of brings in, should we have more than 5 nominees? I think 5 is definitely a sweet spot. Some other categories have 6. Well, other festivals have 6. Some other award shows have 6. But yeah, they're probably going to keep it at 5. For casting, there was a change that instead of just 2 listed nominees and potential winners, they are giving out 3 statuettes now. And then I think the biggest change, at least that's also relevant for us with our 2.5 centimeter podcast, we always love the Spotlight World Cinema International features, which have up to this point always been awarded to the country, and nothing changes to that. But even engraved in like the thing, it always just said the country. And at least now, when the nominations come out, the director is at least credited for this. But the other big change is that the way that you submit a movie always comes through some sort of selective body that happens in the respective countries. They submit it. There's a deadline that was announced to see as well, that like by September 30th, you do need to submit them all to be considered. They expanded this now that like potentially like a country could have 2 submissions in if the movie has won one of the major festivals. And I think it's like 5 major festivals and 1 smaller one that's in there. We got the Berlinale, Cannes, Venice, Sundance, and TIFF. And then Busan is a bit of an outlier, but I think they definitely wanted to, not have 3 European ones and 2 from North America, and then no representation in Asia. I think that's why Busan is there, even though looking at the most recent winners, I don't think there's like the caliber of movie that wins that festival that can compete for an international Oscar. But yeah, that's the biggest change, that if you win the Golden Bear, the Palme d'Or, the Golden Lion, the World Cinema Grand Jury Prize in Sundance, the Platform Award at TIFF, which is a bit odd to me that TIFF is like one of the ones in here, because they don't have juries like these other festivals do. They just give out usually an audience award, and they give the ranking by like how popular it was. And they do have an award that they give to Platform Award. For them is more like an up and coming filmmaker. So it feels more like an Ansa de Regard, an Horizonte, like smaller section that is also maybe a bit more international. But I guess they just wanted to have big festival, give them the possibility to be nominated here. The last one that got that at TIFF was Devil Be Dust, Polvo Seran. And I know that movie is about to come out here in Switzerland. And I don't know if it has in the States. It had me wondering if like, if the release date for some festival winners is like delayed. and is not happening in the year that they are awarded that win. It probably is a then about like when it actually has a at least limited run in theaters in the States, I assume, is still like the sort of qualification to be considered. And then it remains the same as it's ever been. To like, sometimes you get for 2026, sometimes even 2024 movies that get nominated by the country, depending on like the limited release that they've had internationally. But like something like Dreams, Sex, Love was one of the winners like last year for the Golden Bear. This year it's Yellow Letters that could get nominated if I believe Germany doesn't select it. But I think it's likely that they'll go with that one, but I don't know. You can't really tell. But for some festivals like Venice, who always sort of have loved, like out of the last, I believe, 6 winners, 3 of them were American releases, so it wasn't really relevant for the international film discussion. But I think, and then with Gunn, it's also that usually the films that win are so good that they would probably already be in the conversation as selected regardless. Like last year with It Was Just an Accident, that was the case. If you go back far enough with Anatomy of a Fall, there was that didn't get selected by France, then got nominations and won in other categories actually, and it could have been nominated here under this rule. But yeah, that's all of the like sort of overview for these different festivals and where you could expect to get nominations from, sort of and be early, like it would be earlier to tell the hype for these things before we even know that the country selects them. And yeah, maybe that's a path for like a double South Korean nomination maybe at some point, but it seems like they don't really love them all the time. Like it's either like sometimes we get the outlier and you get the perfect movie with Parasite, then it gets in and sweeps everything. But if you got a near perfect movie from any other South Korean director, then it's like, nope, you're not in here.
No other choice.
Yeah, anything Park Chan-wook does basically, and we'll see if with Na Hong-jin if there's like anything different, if Hope lifts up to the hype that it's promised. And I still think they should expand this category for international feature to 10, but I know that like the Academy already struggles to watch all of the movies in time. It's one of the reasons why it takes so long for Oscar season to wrap up. But they also did announce some a few other things. A couple more quick things is that basically there was like a broad restriction on AI being used in performances, in writing, and they sort of keep under the eligibility like rules that the generative artificial intelligence part of it all, like they keep it open for them to investigate further and request more information to secure that there's human authorship. And I think it's one of the things where like, law is always sort of behind because it needs to adjust. In creative arts and these selective bodies, you can make a pre-selection and say like, we don't want any of this. And that way, I think it's also like such a telling, important institution that I think this sends out a signal to a lot of like other places to also do the same. So I think that's overall a good thing. And cinematography, they used to have 10 to 20 movies on the short list, and they've now fixed that to 20, which I think is a good thing because often a lot of like the best shot films get overlooked even already on the short list. Like I already said, casting gets 3 instead of 2 max winners. And the fun change for original song is that it now needs to be at least like 15 seconds at the end of the film before the credits roll. So you don't have like these credit songs that just get tagged on by like some popular artists to secure a nomination, which has sort of been the dominating thing in the last couple of years, that at least like usually 3, if not 4 of the nominees aren't even part of the movie in any relevant way. It really is just like a tacked on extra easy nomination that you can secure. And for VFX, there's now a rule that if you want to vote actually on them, you do need to watch a 3-minute long reel, like a before and after, which I feel like is such a minimum requirement for anything to like to be put together. But just to have a sort of understanding what sort of CGI was done and VFX were done on the film, I guess, but the bar seems quite low. But yeah, those were the biggest sort of changes that were made. Kevin, anything that like you feel like, hey, they need to address this, they missed something here, or what do you feel about like this overall announcement?
Look, man, I'm still waiting for a stunts category. I know it's on the way, but I would really love an update on that front. But we got
did
the
they give
Furious coming out this year. Come on, man.
Did they not say it? They just said that they're working on it, right? There's no date for it.
Yeah, I think it was 2028. I think they might
Is
have
it with
said
the
with
100 show that they are like,
Yeah,
when they switch over to YouTube?
But the thing is, right, it just sucks because it's like we've gotten such great action movies over the years with John Wick Chapter 4. I mean, I should have that shit is the godfather of the stunt movies in recent times. We do have the Mission Impossible movie, and now we have the Furious. It's like, come on, man. I'm just so waiting for that stunts category. But I am hearing a lot of people say Sandra Hüller, because Sandra Hüller has like 4 or 5 movies this year, and so she probably had the biggest shot at getting this double nomination in its first year of this requirement of this recent overview of changes. I do remember also Roger Deakins being nominated in 2008 for No Country, and I believe The Assassination of Jesse James. So double nominees were already a possibility, but I guess now with acting,
never with acting. The way that they used to do it is like the one that just is lower, even if it's like the 1 and 2, they just like knocked that one out. Not that that was the case, but I think there was the one year with Kate Winslet where she would have had like, a double nomination, and she ended up winning, I believe. And maybe it's also, does it dilute your votes if like you vote for the same person but for a different performance? I don't know. That's a part that like I don't, and I think you also don't really care about. It's often hopefully about like spotlighting the best of the year. So I think we're getting closer to that, to actually represent it. If someone deserves to be double nominated, then you get double nominated. With Sandra Hüller, I don't know, because Rose is a lead role. I don't see, because it's like a German film that gets nominated. But I guess you see Digger and maybe like Project Hail Mary, where she'll get like 2 supporting. I don't know if she's supporting in Digger. I don't know what.
Honestly, I don't think she'll get a supporting nomination for Project Hail Mary. Rose, hey, maybe Fatherland, Digger. I mean,
Fatherland.
The possibilities are definitely with those movies right there. Yeah.
Now we're keen, and that's one of the ones now that we got the schedule that it's out, that Fatherland is one of the early ones. So another reminder before we jump into all of our reviews to leave a like and subscribe, and also follow us on our socials, on our individual ones, as well as on Quiet on Set, because we'll keep you posted with everything from Gun. And we also have a very extensive jury grid that we're hosting yet again. I think it's by far our biggest one. We're basically, as far as like, individual people go, we got the most, but also we are bringing in a bunch of like outlets as a collective that then get to share their ratings on there. So it should be a really filled out, really representative thing of like this. I feel like overall younger crowd, like we're like the under 40, 35. I don't know if we have someone who are like about to be 40, but like most people on our list are like. Most people are like in their 20s or early 30s on our list, but we do have someone who's almost 40 on there. I'm just trying to be inclusive, but
don't out them out. What the fuck?
Well, no. It's age isn't a bad thing, especially if it comes with a bit of flavor and a bit of like understanding of the industry. And we have a whole bunch of voices on this, so be on the lookout for that on our website, but also on our socials if you want to keep up to date. We'll have a lot to do, and we'll be very busy watching 6 films a day. Currently trying to figure out a schedule, as they are like always very late with actually sharing not just the public one, but the press schedule. Like 5 minutes before we were able to book, they also like shared
10
the press
minutes,
screening.
Yeah, 10 minutes before.
No. We'll write history here, Kevin. We'll just like adjust it a little bit. It was like 8 minutes before, and I'm rounding that down to 5. It might as well have been 5. No, it was so close, and it's always is like that, because like you gotta add the Fast and the Furious last minute, of course, because that's a high priority.
Of course.
But yeah, that's that. I can't wait. I'm very excited. And I can't wait to be there in person to like finally focus on some films. But before then, man, it's a hectic weekend that the both of us are having before we leave. I hope we get through it all safe, and then it's off to France, my friend, mon ami.
We are rushing to provide the content for you guys during Cannes.
Exactly. Especially, I think, though, after Cannes, we'll do all of our reviews, obviously.
It's going to be crazy,
But yeah, we'll have a lot.
I just know we're going to have like an 8-hour recording session, and then all of them we're going to clip.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on that, because we might do a slightly different approach with how we go about these longer videos, but we'll keep that off air. I do have some ideas there. But Kevin, we both watched 3 movies this week.
Yeah,
Yes,
It's like we shared the homework. You know how like when you're in class, you're like, all right, you do this part, I'll do this part, and then we'll try to copy each other's homework, but not the same.
And Kevin, we had to submit it by this morning at 9 a.m. because we were like, oh, the tickets open for Gun.
Yeah.
We have a recording time, and I was like, no, I need an extension. I need to finish the one movie I'm still watching, the one on Netflix. So like it really is like an assignment here, and it's just similar how we go about in Gun with certain things, where now we have the possibility to say like, hey, we try to cover really everything, and we're sort of doing that same approach here. Although in Gun we will be largely seeing the same thing still, with all of the crevices sort of being covered by the end of it all. We get our fingers all over it, but sorry, that was too much. But let's get to our reviews of the week. And I think we'll start off with the one that's actually the most recent release, the big release of this week, because I got one that like released last week. And let's talk about a film that you've seen, Mortal Kombat II. The fan-favorite champions, now joined by Johnny Cage himself, are pitted against one another in the ultimate, non-holds-barred, gory battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn that threatens the very existence of the Earthrealm and its defenders. Carl Urban is joining the second Mortal Kombat movie. If you made me sort of name the characters in the roster of the fighting game, gun to my head, again, I splattered all over the wall. I got no clue. I did enjoy like the first one a bit. It feels like the brutality was sort of warranted for the type of thing we're talking about here. You also not like overly familiar, I assume, with the games. I don't know if you've played any of them. And what you thought about the first one, because back then it was Lachlan and me who reviewed this one when it was like a day and date release with Warner Brothers. But yeah, I'm here curious. Like, as the action guy, was the action good? Like, what was good about this film, and maybe what didn't you like?
I remember with the first one, the biggest complaint was there isn't really a Mortal Kombat tournament in the first movie called Mortal Kombat, and there is a Mortal Kombat tournament this time. It's like 5 champions each, and like the last one to like lose all of them is the winner and gets to either own the other realm or keep their realm safe. I am not familiar with the Mortal Kombat games. I am quite familiar with the Mortal Kombat movies. I haven't seen the original 2, like Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I know Annihilation is quite bad. I know people give the first one a lot of their due. And I have seen the Mortal Kombat animated movies, though. I have seen Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion Revenge, which I thought was really good. The reason that I know of that one is because that one was directed by Ethan Spalding, who did a lot of the DC animated movie that I also have watched. And I did watch Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms, and I did watch Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, and I did watch Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match. So I am quite well versed in the animated movie section. And with Mortal Kombat 2, there is a tournament format that they dive into pretty quick. There are fights that are better or like more outstanding than others, and that is normal because with one they are way more inspired with Asian martial arts, the sort of wuxia of it all, and then in other fights you have it a bit more in a Western fight, a little bit more brawly, with like just a stick instead of like the flying daggers, the jumping of the roofs, and like flying to the air, all that stuff. They are struggling to keep it to the tournament side of things because we are in a tournament, but then it's like we think the audience might be bored of all of this fighting, so we gotta have a side quest for the characters to do, and there's sort of like two, like if the road is straight, there are 2 times the movie kind of veers off its straight path, and I will say one is quite intriguing. It's a fight with Johnny Cage in a sort of Mad Maxy, like sort of apocalypse type of production setting that is very entertaining. And one is also involving Scorpion. There are actually 3 times the movie sort of steers away from the actual tournament side of things. And it's fine. Very much like the first one. They are improving on things, and they are actually sort of ignoring other things that might have improved on the movie. Carl Urban is solid, but doesn't get much from the script. I also think it's the director. I'll be honest. I don't think, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm sorry, I'm judging a book by its cover, but I'm seeing the director, and it's like, I don't know if that is the guy you want to like direct a Mortal Kombat movie.
I mean, it's more exciting with the Street Fighter the approach they went there, right? I
honestly think so. Especially if you know that you have the Philippou brothers, the Talk to Me and the goddammit, Bring Me Back movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a young talent movie that grew up with those games. And to be fair, Simon McCoy, might have played those games, but I just read like his background was in directing commercials, so I don't know much about you. I mean, sorry, my guy.
Yeah, it's also I think like the other film, the first one was his first like actual feature film. So
yeah,
it was like
it does underuse Joe Taslim and Hiroyuki Sanada. I don't know if it's because, they're busy with other projects. Obviously, Joe Taslim is in The Furious, which I'm looking forward to massively. He was also in The Night Comes For Us. Massive role in that one as well. But I do know that most of the cast of the first Mortal Kombat had like 5 film contracts, if I recall correctly. So like maybe they were like, I can come back only for that amount of days. So they are quite underutilized. Don't really have that much of a point to the story. So yeah, in the end, Mortal Kombat 2, it's okay. The few standout fights would be Liu Kang versus his resurrected brother, the one with the metal hat. Quickly forgot his name. My bad. Look, seeing Scorpion is always gonna be cool. And yeah, I think that's about it. Also, there's a like MacGuffin in the movie, shall I say it, that also sort of renders all the excitement kind of useless of the Mortal Kombat thing.
Like something that can reset everything, like sorta, to have everyone in there. Because like that's the one concept.
Not reset,
no,
but like make a character not mortal.
Yeah. Because that was my question of like Mortal Kombat, right? Is like that you actually kill people, but the brutal finishers.
I can confirm.
And that makes it tricky for a franchise like this, because like the game is that you can play as much as you want as them. So like the concept of a movie will always be incredibly different from the same thing, because it can't just be a tournament, because the stakes are different in the way that you as a player are engaging with that versus how characters, if they were like actual, in a story, how they would then like, yeah. And I don't know if you can possibly make that in a fighting game sort of make sense. I think that is the toughest hurdle to overcome.
Well, the characters are getting resurrected. For example, Kano is in the movie, and he got killed off in the first one. So, and I will say, there is a sequel bait ending to Mortal Kombat 2.
I mean, yeah, they already have a third one announced. That
I know.
is in the works.
I don't know if that will actually get, I don't know if this movie is gonna make much money. I'm not gonna lie.
Do we know the budget for it? Is it like over 100 million?
Do you want to look it up?
Yeah, let's do a live check real quick.
Am I gonna check it on Fantasy Box Office? Maybe.
Yeah, it says like it has an $80 million budget, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bit more than that, but at the moment most places are saying that's like 75. Yeah.
So if it's gonna make 200 million, I honestly am not sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you also are carrying on with the legacy of like a franchise that is still ongoing. Didn't last year, the year before, I think a new Mortal Kombat game came out. So you can sort of have that as part of like the success of this, depending on what these deals are, like with New Line and the production of this. But I think like this is where the future sort of is at the moment when it comes to franchise movie making.
Video game adaptations
are pretty solid, and it's like they are similar to, I guess, Marvel movies, because it's a younger male audience that usually tends to go out for these, a bit easier to track than some of these other ones are. But yeah, rating wise, like, do you think it's like right there in the middle that you'd recommend this to people, or only
I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Like, I was entertained. I was quite impressed with some of the production design. So they're really, because with these games, you also, the location is part of the aesthetic of the fighting, you know, being interactive with the environment as well.
Yeah.
So I was quite impressed with that. It's not the best Mortal Kombat movie out there. I would say that's still the animated one, Mortal Kombat Legend Scorpion's Revenge. I do think that is the one. Because Ethan Spalding, the director of that one, also did a DC animated movie called Batman Assault on Arkham that I also really like. It's fun. If Mortal Kombat is your thing, seek it out. If you're like, I'm gonna wait for streaming, I can also totally understand you if you're a person like that.
But would it be for casual movie-going audiences too, or only ones that like is it baked in with so many references, or is it not? Like it's not like the Super
There
Mario.
are references that probably flew over my head. You know, when a character, like the way a character get into the frame. Yeah. That happens.
And you know, you had that in the first one, I believe, already with the "Get over here." Can you give me your best
Also
"Get over
happens
here"?
in this one.
Yeah, I think they used it in the trailer too. Can you give me your best "Get over here"? Or do you not want to?
Fine. Wait, cool. Let me get over here.
That's all.
You're not even gonna say how it was?
That's all. Have you? Sorry, that was a reference to yes. Finally, a reference that Kevin doesn't get, and I get to clone in it. That's what Miranda Priestley's character says in The Devil Wears Prada.
I got it, but I did want to tell you, like, was it good?
I didn't feel pulled in. I think it did like the same as I did. I think it was. I think people will say they said the thing. If you want praise, yes, Kevin, you did great. I don't know. I can't do it now. I just wanted to dismiss you to like transition over to Devil Wears Prada. I wasn't even considering how well you did it. I'm sorry. I played with your feelings there. I'm sorry. My bad person.
The Devil Wears Prada 2. As Miranda Priestley nears retirement, she reunites with Andy Sachs to face off against her former assistant turned rival, Emily Charlton. I haven't seen any of the Devil Wears Prada movie, but there's a girly here that has watched all of them, and it is Ewan Kraft. Ewan, tell me, how is the Devil Wears Prada 2? I have seen a lot of things with the production, and you know, Meryl Streep. Like, I think the budget of this movie was quite out of there, but it actually already made all its money back. So yeah, tell me about it.
I think the budget was like, wasn't it like 80 million, or was it more than that? I don't know how much.
You know, I just saw that shot in the trailer, where in Italy you have that famous like shopping hallway. In Milan, and I just knew, like, damn, money has been poured into this if they got to shut that whole section off, because it's normally always full of tourists. So yeah, tell me all about it.
It does say it costs 100 million, and I think you can see that they shoot a lot of this stuff on location. I wouldn't say that it's like the best looking movie still, because it has that very modern digital flat-esque lighting, but when it brings out the fashion and the color, it sort of knows how to kind of do that. It's still, you know, if you have them shot to shot compared, it does sort of look a bit underwhelming still. But as a follow-up to The Devil Wears Prada, which is a film that sort of concludes with spoilers, I guess, for a 20-year-old movie that leads into this one. I think that's, I don't know if that's necessary to say, but you haven't seen it. But Andy makes the decision to not work with or for Miranda, not with. She definitely works for her. Everyone works for Miranda. And goes off on her own journalism work, like on that journey. And then we check back in, and this is very much a movie that tries to also have something to say a bit about the industry, similar to, like, you know, the original novel that it's based on, with the inspiration of the author actually having a sort of comparable experience. And then in 2016, I believe it's 2016, she released a follow-up to that book as well, which this is what this is based on. And it's a rare instances where I haven't read the original book, and I also haven't read the sequel book. And so I'm a bit at a loss at like what they left out and what they what they like used here, but it feels like it's very much using the current landscape of like journalism is dying and everything is becoming commercialized. Everything is sort of these institutions that we upheld with these physical magazines that had money to pour into this very important thing to upkeep all of this is all going away for the ultimate billionaire takeover of people just like snatching up all of these properties, trying to cost cut and just have the stock of the one company that they hold ultimately shoot up into the stratosphere on a speculative market whilst losing everything it sort of stood for. And in the first one, there was like reason to fight against that because the institution was this magazine, to sort of the ends justifies the means of like certain things that Meryl does, and it maybe doesn't include them to like use other people as pawns, which something that Andy didn't like to be treated as that, because she was like seeking a pretty naive like sort of mentorship and friendship maybe more, and Miranda is a bit more cutthroat business-esque. And this here sort of has to make both of it work. It sort of wants us to look and say, hey, these are the characters we're familiar with, that we know, the snarkiness, the fashion, the like sort of chatter that they have. We want that, but then also pairing that with like, hey, the comedy of you can't say certain things anymore. I think there's a pretty successful bit where like the new assistant of Miranda, who I think I didn't single out because she's pretty far down in the list of characters, unfortunately. Where is she? Yeah, she plays Amari Simone Ashley, who probably most people know from her role in Sex Education, but she was also in The Little Mermaid and in F1 last year. I think that sort of works. Like when she points out like, oh, no, we don't say that. And it's like a silent thing where she's like reminded, and the things that Miranda did in the first one, Meryl Streep, isn't really that possible anymore. Like she had that command with just like a pretty soft voice, but still garnering so much respect. And now she has to sort of a lot of things that she can't just demand, and because the world around her has changed, and she's a bit more forced to come down to the eye level of Andy. Ultimately, like this movie centers a lot of its time around the Anne Hathaway Stanley Tucci friendship. That was sort of something fun in the first one, and it seems to be an even bigger focus. I think Emily Blunt is a bit like forced into the story overall to like sort of have a nemesis, but she's not really. Like when I read this, like to face off against a former assistant turned rival, if you read that at first, it sort of makes sense, but for a large chunk of the movie, that is not really what's happening. And then you're like, oh, this is what they meant with like rival, but it's not really. Like all of those things sort of ring hollow, and it's more just like bringing back people we're familiar with. There's also a subplot with Andy that like the whole time she prioritized her career, talking about like, freezing her eggs. She's over, she's like 40, I think, in this. And not ready to settle down. She's still on her work grind and is not looking to do that anytime soon. And then we got just like the perfect guy for her that comes in, and it's like a really undercooked subplot that they have that feels really forced in, that feels like a studio note. And the rest of it, I think, is like then so much about like how do you sell out your morals, right? In a way that like you want to stand for good journalism, and you try to bring the good journalism to this dying fashion magazine that even Miranda now has to sort of adhere to. Oh, this got a lot of clicks, this didn't get a lot of clicks, we won't do this anymore, we won't do that anymore. And that's the most like you can't go much further in like a blockbuster like this, like blockbuster, as much as that makes sense for a movie like this, but it still like asks all of those questions of or like puts them here in the middle of the focus of like what these characters are going through, and sort of comments on, yeah, it's sad that all of these things are dying, and it's sort of important. But I struggle with Anne Hathaway like as Andy Sachs in this. I love Anne Hathaway, obviously.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm like looking at you like
yeah. But her character is to me like really annoying. I think she's supposed to be a little annoying, but she was so giddy, so like I don't know. It was way too much for me. Where it was like she was really annoying, really entitled, really confident, and then not confident, and it didn't really fully like to me. There wasn't a fully constructed like person in there to be that character. It felt a bit all over the place. And I don't know. It's just something about it. It was just she was too happy to. I was like, be more miserable. I don't know. But
what about Emily Blunt's character?
She has a bit more technically like with what she's given. She does the most with it. I think she's like someone who has fallen out of that assistant position. Felt like she was owed more than she got, and Miranda sort of cut her off by saying, "Oh no, your potential is actually capped, and you're right where you're supposed to be." And now she's sort of trying to push past that. So it's like a lot of that like relationship is really toxic in the way that they don't want the best out of each other. And it's interesting with her character. It's like ultimately that like you get to a place just because you attach yourself to someone who's rich to get you to a position, and not by like your own talents. And I think that's like how the world works. It's like similar how like Andy re-enters the story. It is not because Miranda chooses her, but because the owner of the magazine, ends up saying, "Oh yeah, we could," because she ends up winning like in the opening of the film a like journalism prize. And as they are at the table about to accept their speeches, they all get fired over the phone right then and there. And then she goes up and makes like a very passionate speech about like, this is that part of it. Like I really didn't buy her as like this journalist. It felt like what she does later on sort of is not giving to me like investigative journalism that like, journalists that like traveled around the world, but it is like very much still the fashion is the focus here. And it's sort of like the broad statement of like journalism important because we write about things, and then it can't really get into why those specific things for this story and this world they're talking about is important. So like it's sort of vague posting about why is it important, or like in what way is it important for this institution or whatever. But I think it's a very fine, very entertaining movie with a stellar cast and fun performances. And I think if we're going in trying to get that out of it, I think you'll have a perfectly serviceable movie. And I think when it comes to these legacy sequels, 20 years in the making, this is among, I'd say, like one of the better ones, I'd say. It's not bad. It's pretty decent. But I mean, if you haven't seen the first one, I wouldn't say, hey, you need to catch up with both of these. It was also interesting to see, like, who went out to go see this. Like, there were a lot of like women only like screenings for this, like girls' night and all that, which I think is a ton of fun. That like you can fill a theater full of people who are really excited for this. As you can see from the box office, right? It's been out for like a little bit more than a week, or just a week now, and it already has made back its money. Over 250 or 260 million it already grossed, which is
253 million. Yeah,
great for a film that is based on books, and it's based on a very beloved sequel, and it's doing very well internationally as well. I think what I haven't said yet, and I should say it at least twice or 3 times in every review about a film that Meryl Streep stars in, but she's incredible. She's literally everything she touches turns into gold. She's great. She's amazing in this. And I also shout out to Stanley Tucci. I think they did a little bit more with his character. Yeah, again, I feel like you don't get deep explorations of characters here. It still is a bit more about plot, but I think from what you'd expect a movie like this to be like, it's more on the human side and less on the like, we gotta make sequel and make money from it. Like it's more swings more towards like human expression side than AI automation.
What did you rate it?
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Because I quickly want to talk to you about what I sent to you after the box office numbers of this movie came out, which was like, oh god, Hollywood is gonna sequel bait. Like, obviously they do a lot of sequel bait anyway, but they are really, I feel like they're really gonna look now at movies like 20 years ago and like, which ones are we perhaps gonna pick out to, make a nostalgia bait sequel there. And I guess with the Devil Wears Prada 2, it is trying to say something, but I don't know if that will happen with other movies that they might make because of the success of Devil Wears Prada 2.
I think it low-key undercuts her with that romance plot a lot, because it's like so much about her being independent and not needing that validation and doing things because she thinks it's right and sort of getting them through. And then it's like very much about like how much billionaires suck. And then she basically goes touring because she got the job with Miranda's firm, and starts touring like really nice looking apartments around Central Park. And then she talks the building that it's so like, you know, bad to be doing this. And it's like, turns out the guy she's talking to is a really cutie, and he's Aussie yet again, like the last guy she almost dated, who doesn't return in this film. And then he's like, turns out he's a contractor. So like it's about like, oh, you're just working for the people, the bad guys in this, but he's just the one in here doing the good things. It's like trying to have the in between. I think it's there try to like very on a studio note level say add a little bit of nuance in there, but I think it's not nuance, it's a bit dilution when it comes to a movie like this that isn't really getting into the nitty-gritty anyways. And I think it sort of overstretches what it's willing to like sort of give there. But
like, do you think this will spawn
another Devil Wears Prada?
Years? No, not even like this one, but like I just mean nostalgia sequels to movies of 20 years ago.
I think
because
I think they'll
for
always
example,
happen.
movies from 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, like we are coming up on those 20 years like later sequels like that could potentially be made.
The thing that we are missing out on is the sort of rom-com that actually had a concept that was like a goofy ass concept of like, ooh, I turn from 13 to 30, or like some weird ass like those concepts. I feel like those movies, they were the mid-budget thing of filming in actual places, and those movies have died. And I think a lot of these are like, especially with romance stuff, which just sort of is on the right verge of like, hey, usually there's a romance subplot to this, but it's a workplace sort of drama. I think those you can sort of update, even though it's here already a bit shoehorned in that you bring back Emily Blunt. And I think with romance, it's always a bit tougher to do that. And then I'm wondering, like, what's left of, like, the early 2000s that have those 20 years where, like, those were the really, like, movies that could have a similar sort of a resurgence with an updated film. And I don't know how many of those would be worth to revisit. And I mean, we're just observing this. I feel like we're not clamoring, like, the studios to, like, hey, go make this. But it's just sort of a reality of like what's happening right now. But we'll have a quick look, both of us, if there's something interesting that stands out to us from the 2000s.
I was like thinking, you know, The Holiday, that is definitely a movie that could potentially get a sequel, especially since it's been watched every... I'm seeing like Mamma Mia 3.
I mean, they already did those, right? And the question is like, I'm looking at something very popular, like Mean Girls. They redid it. Right, so it's like, is what's easier to redo it or to make a sequel? And I think in most cases,
they even did Bridget Jones.
They remake it instead of making a sequel. I think it can be really interesting to like revisit, especially if you have great actors to revisit, like to revisit them later on. But I'm just looking at them and I don't really see a ton of like great potential here. And a lot of the stuff that already had potential, like, did get sequels in the next couple of years after. So
the amount of times that we have seen Bridesmaid over the years, a Bridesmaid sequel, I can easily imagine it. You know, that group of actors always really.
I mean, we had
nice
Freaky Friday
anyway.
last year. That was one of the ones from the 2000s.
Yeah.
Bridget Jones' Diary is still going. They did do the Zoolander. Yeah, I don't know. We could do 50 more dates, but like have her in some accident again and forget stuff. I don't know. We're getting a scary movie this year.
Let's remake Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect 4. Oh my god.
I feel like that is coming at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I've also, you know, the almost famous type of movies. I sort of what we're getting later this year with Deep Cuts. It's somewhere in the back here. I just read it recently. It's going to tap into that feeling. We got Myland Kicks. I'd love to see more movies about like music journalism and how like little that is actually there to like to be successful, because I think no music journalism is ever really truly picking up. And I think that's an interesting thing that could be explored in a movie form. But yeah. Anyways, you want to move on?
Let's move on.
That was a pretty good. I can't say. I want to say it wasn't a bad transition because then I could do the bad, but it was a good transition, Kevin. Yeah.
You can say it. You can say it.
No, I won't say it. I won't give you my. George Hardy is the shepherd who reads detective novels to his beloved sheeps every night, assuming they can't possibly understand. But when a mysterious incident disrupts life on the farm, the sheep realize they must become the detectives themselves. As they follow the clues and investigate human suspects, they prove that even sheep can be brilliant crime solvers. That's The Sheep Detectives, an adaptation of Freebags Full by Leonie Swan, directed by Kyle Balda. And the reason why only Kevin is reviewing this for us is I had a press screening scheduled. I almost had my train ticket booked. I was like, I'll go to this. And then in the morning I checked and I saw like, oh, this is the guy who did the Minions. This is my arch nemesis. I can't do this. And then immediately after, the reviews came in and they were saying, oh, this is not rotten at all. It is actually so fresh over on Rotten Tomatoes that they keep boasting about, like, oh, it's one of the best reviewed films of the year. And then if you look at the cast as well, Hugh Jackman, Emma Thompson, Nicholas Brown, Nicholas Galitzine, Molly Gordon, Hong Chow. Whoa, who is not in this cast? Bryan Cranston, right? Julia Louis-Dreyfus, a lot of like the people who just play the sheep are even stacked. But Kevin, was it as much of a hoot and holler as you'd expect it to be? What did you think?
I'll quickly read out my like small letterbox review because and imagine that I'm saying this in the same way that Ed Harris in Top Gun Maverick said it. You know, it galls me to say it, but for reasons only known to the almighty invisible bread sheep. That's a reference to Sheep Detectives. This movie is actually good, and honestly, I totally get your skepticism towards this movie because of the director. Because of the trailers and the posters. I mean, like some of the people in the poster look quite airbrushed. Like, you know, just really Photoshop.
No one was actually there.
with lighting, very different lighting and all. But if you actually look beyond the surface, I have to admit, Craig Mazin as a writer, I know a lot of people dog on him lately because of The Last of Us, but this is still the guy that did Chernobyl, and he's actually a very solid writer. I mean, he has written a lot of good episodes within The Last of Us, even the second season, very much the first season as well. And if you go to look at the executive producers, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are there, and the production company is involved.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you do have Amazon Original Films, so it's like this could go either way.
Was that why it looks so flat that it needs to play on all of your Amazon devices equally?
Perhaps.
Because, brother.
But I do think if I have to give anyone their props, their due, their credit, it is Craig Mazin.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has written, I will say, like, this movie obviously is very family friendly, but if this is the movies that kids go to see in the hopes of like seeing more murder detective movies, whether it is the Knives Out movies, whether it is like the good old ones from back in the day, I am quite happy that this is their entry point. Like, this will be their entry point. And if I have to pick out an MVP from the cast, it is gonna be my boy Greg from Succession, Nicholas Braun. I think he really,
as a cop,
like, nails it. In terms of, like, he's a bit Greggy in this movie, if I can phrase it like that. But like, he really knows what movie he's in, and he's being a little bit stumbly, a bit idiotic, but still in a good natured way. Hugh Jackman isn't a lot in this movie because he's the one that, you know, gets killed. Naturally, but the scene that he's in, obviously, if you think about Hugh Jackman, what's the first thing that comes in your mind? The charm that man has.
Oh, sorry.
And totally valid. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, does this movie look a bit bland? Is the framing maybe not the most exciting? Yeah, but I do think this movie is one where the screenplay is so strong that you can't really mess this movie up. The CG is quite decent with the sheep. And I will say, like, this movie really has that British film, like, kids vibe to it, whether it be a Mary Poppins, whether it be a Nanny McPhee, very nostalgic perhaps for kids like us, when those movies came out around that time, very much had a lot of inspiration from Babe, naturally, talking animals. You will always get that type of comparison.
Wait, I have one question really quick. Bella Ramsey's in this movie. Does she play a ram? Yeah. If not, then
no.
Okay, no, then
no. The Rams are played by Brett Goldstein.
Okay.
Yeah. And in terms of the sheep, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess among the sheep, Sebastian is the name of the sheep that gets played by Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Like I because again, I'm hard of hearing. I can't really recognize voices that well. But if I did recognize anybody, it was Bryan Cranston. To me, he is the standout. It's very fun because this movie does say oh, Hugh Jackman reads out mystery novels to these sheep, so the sheep sort of have a structure of the mystery murder in their head already and are trying to figure it out by that structure. And again, for kids that are into this is their first foray into murder detective movies, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is very charming. And I have to because I was ready to shit on this movie. I'm not gonna lie, with the trailers, I was like, it's not really looking that good, but it won me over. It won me over, Ewan. I don't know what else to say.
That's great. I've seen some people who didn't really enjoy it as much, but it is predominantly positive to quite positive. It's not one saying it's the favorite film of the year, but just
no, it's not. But
it's very solid. Which
you also have to take what this movie is. It is based on a children's book.
I've listened. Sorry, I maybe should have said that. Another reason why I didn't is because of the gun preparations. I haven't finished the book yet. I'm about halfway through, and I'm listening to the audiobook only though. And it's been pretty fun. I think it's told in a very imaginative way as well. I think there's going to be quite big changes to adapt this here. I can already feel that just from the trailers alone. Yeah, but yeah. And I think I'm still gonna watch it later on. But from what you told me, at least I'm not gonna be dreading it. My time. He's not directing the next Minion movie. We saved him. Kyle, you're saved. You're saved, man. Escape.
You're saved from the grasp of illumination.
Yeah, escape, man. Run while you can. Don't be a sheep.
With the talent involved, I honestly am quite surprised with my skepticism. Had I known that Maiden was involved, Lord and Miller, and obviously, sure, there are bad movies out there with famous cast, a big cast, but to get a cast like this, it is quite impressive, and if the source material was pretty good, I understand you would be able to get such a cast. Sheep Detectives, a lot of fun. Obviously, can't really talk about the movie that much in terms of spoilers since it is a murder detective movie.
Wait, I in the book they do also sort of accuse each other at one point. Is that also what's going on in this, or is it just suspects that are humans?
The sheep or the suspect?
No, the sheep sort of accuse, they suss each other out as well. Does that happen? Does that happen as well?
There is a little bit of the sheep constantly switching their suspects, oh, he did it or she did it. But no, it's a lot of fun. And I'll admit, I didn't even really realize the killer until a few minutes before the reveal. So even for the adults that are oh, this is pretty cookie and cutter, I liked it. I mean, you'll probably know since you're reading the book, so you won't have that surprise.
I will probably know. Unless A is Craig Mazin, you never know. You won't change.
Exactly. But yeah, really good movie, man.
What did you rate it?
I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I did round it up on to a 4 on Letterboxd because I have to say, I had a really good time. It was the best movie that I saw yesterday. I watched 3. So. Oh! Can I quickly say though, the Dutch title is atrocious because you have Sheep Detective. So you could translate in Dutch to Schaapdetective or something like that. But no, what they need translated to, it translates to Bah, the mystery of the meadow.
Yeah,
it's brother, come on, man.
That's crazy.
So every time, when a Dutch family goes to this and they have to say the name of the movie, Bah, you have to bah every time. Come on, man. Like, you can't do this to us. Like, society can't be that degrading.
That's what you have to go through. Sometimes you gotta suffer through.
But, sheeps, they are, like, quite intelligent, beautiful animals. Like, some people would say beautiful creatures, like remarkably bright creatures.
Yeah, I wanted to say from mammals to marine mollusks, but I guess you're also doing a transition. So.
Oh yeah, you can do it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, let's talk about remarkably bright creatures.
A lonely elderly widow named Tova forms an unlikely friendship with a curmudgeonly octopus named Marcellus at the aquarium she works at. Meanwhile, a young man named Cameron's search for his bird father leads him to Tova. Unbeknownst to them both, Marcellus is on a mission to solve a mystery that will heal Tova's heart and ultimately connect their lives in a profound, life-changing discovery. So, Ewan, this is a Netflix movie, and we know where the bar of a Netflix movie can be. Is it below that bar? Is it underneath that bar? Is it exactly on that bar? Tell me.
I think something with Netflix and a novel adaptation sort of works beautifully, because a lot of text in the book version of this by Shelby Van Pelt is sort of, in a narration that in this film, it goes back and forth from Marcellus, the octopus, who's on his deathbed, who knows how many days usually octopus live, so he knows he's at the end of his life. So in this film, we are like very much forcing out a lot of like cathartic feelings for everyone in this, and even before I say anything else, like by the end of it, I was like, this movie is a bit manipulative the same way that the book is. I read the book, and I think the book is like a 3 out of 5 potentially. Like it's a decent book, but I know a lot of people love it. It's very highly rated on those book sites. I still got a lot out of this because cinematically, the sort of catharsis that it seeks for its characters is incredibly rewarding. It is well made, but the way that like sort of the dialogue is conveyed is like it yet again very noticeable on Netflix, on how much it's just like everything is so clear in the way that people speak to each other. A lot of it is information based, where it feels like you are sort of packaging together discoveries that were made in a novel through observations of another character, and instead of making that observation through them, you just have the character that they are observing tell another person something directly, and it is then can both be like them opening up at each other, but also information dumping a lot, because this movie needs a lot of like setup, because it's about Tova, who's lost her son years and years ago, and now this kid pops out of nowhere in search of his dad, and from the synopsis already, I don't know if you could sort of get a feeling, but it sort of gives you that feeling like that they're, I don't know, I'm just gonna spoil it, they're related. And in the movie, they are like sort of making that reveal really, really late. In the book, about like a third in, he's like, oh yeah, these two like human creatures look very similar. I'm super smart, I'm an octopus, they're related. I was like, okay guy. I guess you can observe it. I wouldn't go around like pointing at people and say, you're probably related. In most cases, you're probably just being racist. But this octopus is very confident, and he's remarkably bright. So he gets that right. And then in this, it's like a lot of that. Like in recent years, we've gotten so many movies, especially about octopus, where people are like, my octopus teacher, like documentaries about people connecting with octopus, where it feels like, hey, smart creature, they understand me, which doesn't really make sense. And you have that sort of connection. And here, yet again, you are anthropomorphizing this creature in a way that they have the connection that in service of a human, they like basically, that's the connection they have, so they seek it out, they seek to deepen it, they seek to help them out. And this whole discovery is like this tragic thing of like, just sort of find each other and you'll find all the love. And it's very soapy, it's very cheesy, but not in a way that is like, when you have a certain taste of a fruit, right, in maybe a sweet, it can be incredibly fake and not feel like an authentic thing. Or it can actually feel like you're tasting the right thing and feels like you're actually using ingredients. And this movie, more often than not, feels like it actually has a bit of a core to itself, which is real. And I think I would give the reason for why I'm feeling that way to Sally Field. I think she is such a like spark as a person, as an actress. And a lot of the shortcomings where I think her character is like, ticking the boxes of what it needs to be and what it needs to adapt. She adds, she rounds out that character a lot. And I think Louis Pullman is given even less, and he needs to play it even broader. And it can be a bit more explored internally of like how much turmoil and how much self-hatred he has for himself. He can convey that still. And I think it sort of would need to expand a bit. Like I would say like this movie is about 2 hours long. If it fully were to go in the route, I think this probably could have been a mini series that's like about 4 episodes long if they really want to stretch it and really deepen these relationships. But I think what it does best is sort of bringing that sentiment of like a character, a friend of hers, at one point says like, you're so busy trying to not be a burden to anyone, you're forgetting how to be a friend. Because in a lot of ways, like she always apologizes, she always like tries to be secluded, tries to be herself, because she has this immense loss of having lost her son and living in this small town where like rumors came up about like did he commit suicide, was it an accident, and not getting closure on any of this because the last couple of days they were after a stupid little fight that they had and they never really fought before. It is the tragedy of like this unresolved like not knowing, and that's sort of has broken her into solitude. And then it's about like Louis Pullman's character like pulling her out of that, and they like, well, not really him pulling her out of that, but each other, like they fulfill their lives. And that is like, I mean, if you see that happen, and if you were to see that in real life, it is just very life affirming, and like that's one of the reasons why you keep living, to like pull someone out, but then not like that they seek reason in you, that like, the sort of partner thing that maybe in a relationship you can't really be with someone who's like not a person themselves and just needs someone to complete them, but someone who is complete but just doesn't, like, holds themselves back, and you're trying to like just make them see themselves for who they are and for the person that they are, like in all of what they can be in a good way. And for that, I found this movie to be incredibly charming and very sweet. And I ended up giving it a 7 out of 10. And I was thinking, like, honestly, I think you wouldn't hate it. Like, I think if you are like watching this after Gone, yeah, I think you would enjoy it. I think it's actually quite decent. I think it was quite sweet.
Good to know. I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, it was a bit of a solo review. Sorry, I don't really have anything to bounce off of you on that one. But I mean, my question is like, I don't know, like really off kilter. But do you eat octopus?
I do like octopus. Like, fuck. I like squid. I could eat that shit. I fucking love it. I will say with Sally Field, I like you said, like how she has like a spark.
She's a field of dreams.
There's this movie out there like Hello, My Name is Doris. Like that's also, I feel like it's in sort of the same wavelength as this movie, Remarkably Bright Creatures.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's about it.
Yeah. Nothing really,
I think we've lost a spark between the two of us. We gotta light up that fuse again.
Hey. You know what? These segues are my favorite part of the podcast, I gotta say.
I think we should like cut everything else out and just keep the segues so they like lead to nowhere. So they don't make any sense.
It leads into the next review. Let's talk about Fuze.
An unexpected World War II bomb is discovered on a busy construction site in the center of London. Chaos ensues as the military and police begin a mass evacuation against a ticking clock. You really like David Mackenzie. Hell or High Water is one of your favorite westerns. I still haven't seen it. I'm really sorry. But I really liked Relay, Outlaw King, and the series Under the Banner of Heaven. Kevin can't get over me not having seen that film yet. Yeah. But I think this movie seems to be, at least as someone who hasn't seen it, right? It's only you reviewing this. Seems to be a bit more of a straightforward action drama thriller. It premiered last year at TIFF and didn't really get much of a response. Didn't seem to be like seen by that many people of like the upper level of potential that some of these TIFF movies have, and sort of was dropped only in limited release in the States pretty unceremoniously at the end of April, and has now released in some places internationally. For me, there's no Swiss release date anywhere in sight for me, so I probably won't see it until it drops on VOD. But you got to see this in a theater where it hopefully should be seen for good action cinema that is loud and has, something to say. But did it sort of deliver, or did the spark go out too early for you?
you missed one of David Mackenzie's greatest movie, which is also Hello High Water. I fucking love that movie. But it's also because of like that hot streak of Taylor Sheridan with Sicario, Hello High Water, Wind River. It's one of my favorites, like the Frontier trilogy. I think it's been labeled as. And with Fuze, there were quite a lot of people in my screening, so I was like, "All right, cool. People are going out to this movie. Great." Aaron Taylor Johnson. Admittedly, this is the type of movie that, for me, looks at a Bond audition movie because you know how Daniel Craig has Layer Cake, and when the whole thing with Idris Elba was going on, he had this movie called Bastille Day. I think it's been renamed to Take as well, and that just felt like a Bond audition movie, and this sort of feels like Aaron Taylor Johnson's audition for it, because what else did he have? Kraven the Hunter? Hell nah. He had Bullet Train, I guess, but that was a few years ago. And this movie starts out very methodically. The first 45 minutes are really like this. Hey, there's this building crew, this digging crew that's doing construction. Oh my god, we found an old World War II bomb. Let's call in the squad. So you see Gugu Mbata Ross' character, who is the main police officer, like chief, that is coordinating the cordon around this World War II bomb. And then you have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is the main lead, EOD officer on site to make this bomb, defuse it basically. And at the same time, you have a criminal crew that is within the cordon when everybody is gone, that is trying to get into a safe, into a bank, to obviously steal some shit. And that is really the first 45 minutes of this. You have, so we are trying to work, but obviously there's a lot of police around us. We do have to work quietly. And sometimes you're like, are they going to get discovered now because of this, because of that? And you had to, at the same time, you do have, obviously, the bomb itself. Are they going to defuse it? Is it going to explode? Yet, I never really feel any tension. And it's a bit of a shame because I think it's mostly because of the structure of this movie. Slight spoilers. I'm not going to say anything but slight spoilers. So you have the movie that's going on. And after the movie, you have a little bit of a prequel bit. And I don't know why you put that. I know why the screenwriter did it, because of trying to keep the revelations of the actual situation of the first 45 minutes sort of exciting, but it never felt exciting to me. It never felt tension. Like Den of Thieves, 2. You've seen Den of Thieves 2, right?
Not yet. No, I haven't gotten around to it.
Not yet.
But you can if you want to talk about it in spoiler thing for this, feel free to do so. Like
Den of Thieves 2 does a lot of good setup before the heist, and say what you want about that, setup is not for example, they go partying. Is that scene necessary? No, but it is good fun, especially with Jared Butler. But here, that is missing. They go straight into the heist and sort of do the preamble afterwards, and it also I never really feel any tension. It feels quite safe. I gotta say, it feels too easy for the criminals, for the people that are involved in the heist. Things go way too smoothly, and I need a little bit more grit. And you know what emphasized that for me? Do you know that video, Ewan, of piracy is bad? That commercial?
Yeah.
They use that sort of leather type and animation at the beginning of this movie to add the credits, actor this, actor that, produced, written by, with that sort of janky early digital age, above this very smooth obviously very smooth sky shot, drone shot. And that to me is the problem with this movie. It's a bit too clean, it's a bit too safe, too easy when you are dealing with a topic
but that's the overall issue with action thrillers nowadays, isn't it? They always feel even something like Crime 101 felt like it was decent, but it still felt too clean, right?
Yeah, but at least Crime 101 has some like violence to it with the Barry Keoghan character. With the fact that
Little,
not
yeah.
everything is going to plan in Crime 101, and with this one, it really feels like it's way too easy.
Is
And
this more
I
like a
don't know
Guy
what it is.
Ritchie type of thing where the criminals are so brilliant that they can like sort of do
No,
anything?
no, I
Not
wouldn't.
to
I
that
wouldn't say
extent.
that. I
So
wouldn't say
it
that.
doesn't have the style, but it also doesn't have the tension. So it's like missing the sort of core thing that
Yeah.
makes it its own thing.
Am I gonna go to spoiler territory? Are you seeing this movie or not?
I might down the line, but I don't care if you want to talk spoilers.
The thing is, so the prequel thing is you see Theo James, you see one of the other partners, and you see Aaron Taylor Johnson, the way that they met up and are sort of, and then you see, oh, so this is how they came together to perform this heist. So Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is the EOD officer on site, is actually participating in the crime, even though he's not. Like that's basically the shit.
Right.
And but if you know that he's in the crime, and you know that when one of his other members of the team is saying like, "Sir, I think something is off," that to me feels way more exciting, knowing that he's involved in the crime and is trying to give the other guys time. That feels to me like that's way more tension and excitement to the actual heist instead of doing the at the end when everything's done, like, oh, he was actually part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's a bit disappointing to me because with a director like David Mackenzie, who, to be fair, hasn't had that many like great hits since Hell or High Water or Start Up. You know, I haven't seen Outlaw King. I haven't seen Relay, even though the part that I have seen of Relay were quite decent.
Yeah, the action is quite good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think
But
it might just be the
same
screenwriting.
thing. I can't spoil Relay, but it seems like even that movie has an issue with having a twist that comes too late. And I'm hearing the same thing here. That like it would have been more interesting to give us a sort of that different direction story wise instead of a twist at the end, if that makes sense. That I think he might be on a. Is he always working with a like scriptwriter, or is he working himself?
He didn't write Fuze, so that went to somebody named Ben Hopkins, who is most famously for Willem Dafoe's Inside.
Right.
Not to be confused with Bo Burnham's Inside, but Willem Dafoe's Inside.
It's very different. But isn't Inside also is that not also partly a heist with that, or am I
No, it's like Willem Dafoe that breaks into this luxurious apartment and is then stuck in it.
So that's the reason why they sort of heist type the thing that they probably got him, because he's written another heist movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think the writing is that great. With Start Up, you have somebody as Jonathan Astor. With Hell or High Water, you obviously have Taylor Sheridan. And he has done other movies that are quite decent that I've seen. Perfect Sense, I quite like. Also, not a project of his own. And yeah, I just think if you give David Mackenzie the right material, he will make something good out of it. And that's the thing with a lot of movies. The movie will only be as good as what the source material is or the screenplay. You can elevate it with interesting direction, with great actors, but it'll never reach its potential.
Yeah, because he's a director. He's not really that much a writer-director. He was a co-writer, or I don't know if he was the lead for Relay. And I think that did have some interest. I'm also biased because Lily James is in that. So I also love Riz Ahmed, but yeah. I think you probably. I wouldn't be surprised if you end up liking Relay a lot if you end up watching that. But
I've seen parts of it because of the montage. Right. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to see it, but I from what I saw of Relay, I did quite like. Mm-hmm. Like I would really recommend like to watch Den of Thieves 2 because the heist part of that is way more exciting than this, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Sam Worthington, like so you that's also the thing. So in Aaron Taylor Johnson's like team, you have one member of the team that is sort of pushing against, sir, this bomb feels off. It's not really. And then you have Theo James, who is part of the criminal side, and you have Sam Worthington there, and he's sort of the guy that pushes back on Theo James at a few times, and that would feel way more exciting knowing that they're both having the struggles. They're both apart. They can't help each other. that would have way more tension. And
Mhm.
it's quite unfortunate that they add this prequel thing of. Also, in the prequel thing, funnily enough, you have Aaron Taylor Johnson that stands on a mine, and it just sort of reminds me of this movie called The Wall, which I really like. I know a lot of people don't like the Wall, but I unfortunately really really like it. It's a movie directed by Doug Liman. Like, it had a 3.0 on Letterboxd. I know a lot of people give it like 3 stars, 2 stars, 3.5, but I gave that movie a 4.5. Yeah, I really like that one.
What I'm
So-
hearing is they should have gone the Departed route and have, you have the one character who's like part of the crime people,
Yeah,
and to make it even more convoluted, you have someone from the police who should be working.
yeah.
Which I guess is sort of happening with him being like both of those things, but I don't know. Make him.
Honestly, this movie honestly feels on the same level as Idris Elba's Bastille Day or The Take, whatever that movie is called now. That was also like sort of a 3-star movie. Yeah, do I feel James Bond energy from Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie? Not really. I don't know if there's another movie that he had that type of energy. Maybe in Tenet.
The
I can
thing
see him in
is,
Tenet.
yeah, with the James Bond side, I did see recently that apparently the circling
Jacob Elordi.
Yep, and that is the uninspired route to go because it makes sense. Tall, handsome guy. Was also not British. To have for the role. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. But I still feel like Callum Turner, like we both agree, would be the best choice for James Bond. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think Aaron Taylor Johnson would be a good choice if I'm honest.
I would prefer him over Jacob Elordi. I'm not gonna lie, because I do think he can pull off that charm. I know Jacob Elordi. Oh my god, a lot of people sim for him, but in terms of James Bond, I just see Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like, bro, Jacob Elordi stands out literally above everybody else. Like, he would not be a good spy.
It's also partly that you would have to win over with people with your charm, and he's just not that he's out of any of these other ones are like less attractive, but they're just less tall, and tall, like being tall is always like an attractiveness boost. And I think it sort of has him, like, he's also, I think, a very charming person on screen. I honestly don't think it would be the worst choice ever, and James Bond is bad after this, but I feel like it would be the lesser choice. But it definitely feels like Amazon has some control over this bit more than anyone else. And I don't know. I mean, you still have Denis, who might have a say in who he's casting, and I got no clue who he would even have on the radar. By the end, we'll see Robert Pattinson in it. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah. But
I gave Fuze. It's like okay. The first 45 minutes, which are very methodically, it's quite exciting to see everybody how this cordon works. It almost feels a bit documentary like, in the sense of like, this should be how an evacuation looks like in the case of how an actual bomb is found. The communication between the teams, the military and the police.
Mhm.
But everything after that is sort of, a bit boring, not that exciting. But I'm still giving it a 6 out of 10. Honestly, maybe should even go like a 5.5, but to like get out of the positive realm of things because of the fucking Rotten Tomatoes thing. But I'll still say it's a decent watch.
Well, I'll be on the lookout for it. I might end up watching that on, I don't know, a dark day.
Now, I am actually looking forward to this movie that you are going to talk about next, which is Hokum, directed by Damon McCarthy, and the synopsis reads: when novelist Owen Bauman retreats to a remote inn to scatter his parents' ashes, he is consumed by tales of a witch haunting the honeymoon suite. Disturbing visions and a shocking disappearance forces him to confront dark corners of his past. So we are talking about Hokum. Ewan, tell me, is this movie any good?
It is dark. It is with the presto that Adam Scott is. It's very dark thematically, but also yeah. I mean, if you look at the director, who I'm unfortunately not familiar with Caveat or Oddity, I haven't seen either of them. I know you've probably seen parts of Oddity for the montage that you were doing. And I think it's like that one is pretty visually outstanding. Hokum also has that to its name, that it feels like there's a bit of a budget. with Neon. That comes with the possibility, like they're only distributing it. I don't think they're producing. I actually don't know. It's got a production value behind it, and someone like Adam Scott is able to play a really like off-kilter, unpleasant person who's a writer here, who is basically being rude to everyone. Who again is like coming back to this inn, right? To scatter his mom's ashes. And he is pretty well known. We don't really get a true sense of the scale of his popularity as a writer, but there's multiple people who recognize him at the inn that he's staying in Ireland. It has a lot of like visuals going on that are interesting. I just didn't really connect with the story much because I found the lead character to be so like hard to even care about or root for that it ends up being like this sort of murder mystery that turns into more like survival than actually figuring out who did it at one point. It leaves him sort of out of the story for a bit and sort of has him pick up the pieces later as he's like not out of the movie, but like there's a time that passes at one point early on in the film. And I just like it's interesting visually. But on a narrative level, I'm really not getting more than just like the vibes of this overall down. And then it has a bunch of like really annoying jump scares that it does. Like it feels really forced in some of the horror elements instead of having an unsettling feeling of like this lingering trauma that he uncovers. That with his it's like also has this sort of room that's locked because it's haunted, so you don't go in the room. So you know we spend a whole bunch of time in the room at one point of the movie. And I feel like it doesn't really uncover all of that in a very interesting way. I honestly had pretty high expectations for this. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm slightly disappointed by it. And I really don't have much else to say about it. I gave it like a 6 out of 10. It's fine, but like I was expecting one of the best horror films of the year potentially to have that. I don't think by the end of the year it will be among my favorites. But yeah, it was all right. Honestly, I think other people might get more out of it.
I'm seeing quite a lot of positive ratings on Letterboxd from the mutuals. 3.5, a few 4.5 as well. I kind of want to talk to you about Adam Scott, though. How is Adam Scott in this movie? Because like he can be very comedic, as we know, and he can be very dramatic, as we know.
He's incredibly sarcastic in this. His role is like constantly making fun of other people. Like there's a guy who likes him and wants to get a signature of his books, recognizes him. He like sort of blows that guy off in a very like rude way, unnecessarily rude. So it makes it like I almost want that character to sort of not be like to go through bad things because he seems such a dick, and I don't know. So and he can play that well. Like he made me hate him really early on. I don't know if like through the whole runtime we are trying to like at parts root for him. I think it's not asking us to do that as an audience. I think it's not really mismatched in that way. But I just sort of had a hard time to like fully buy in. But by no means is that based on any of the shortcomings of Adam Scott. I think the construction of the story to me was just a bit like lackluster of what I was expecting. And he's stellar. He's funny in it too. Like it's very like if there's comedy, it's very dark comedy, or it's always at the expense of someone else. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Honestly, not that much to talk about with this one.
Too bad, because like I know a lot of people are a fan of Oddity. Like that was really one of the horror standouts of that year. But nonetheless, I'm still looking forward to Hokum, but my expectations have been a bit lowered by you.
I really want to see Obsession. I've that's the one that I'm like everyone's been saying it's great and
raving about it. But I've seen that trailer again like a few times yesterday, and I'm just like,
no. I don't want to see the concepts because it seems like a very simple premise, incredibly high concept on the execution level, depending on where you go, and seemingly from what people have been praising about it, it actually nails that. So I'm incredibly excited for Obsession. But Hokum did under-deliver for me just a tad bit.
Can I just say, after all of these reviews, I think we've given all of them like a 6 out of 10, except Sheep Detective. So it really does feel like we're in that type of year before we're doing the big blockbusters and the March, the February horror movies, rom-coms, like they have sort of come. Project Hail Mary has already been released. Like it really feels like we're in that time of year where movies are coming out in the hope that they hook an audience in, or they're eventually, like, it does feel a bit like the dumping fields of the year.
I mean, I think the month before, like sort of March and April, wasn't too great when it comes to new releases. And I think it's just setting the basis for the year. If people are going out to see these movies who don't get raving reviews, but are just interested to see new stuff. Because even if you watch, like, I like, instead of watching one movie a year and that's going to be the one that you like because it caters directly to what you want, I'd much rather seek out a bunch of movies that I think are okay, and I get an interesting sort of perspective of the whole year. And it might be very different for people, so that's why I'm saying, like, it sets the basis of, hey, how much are people going to seek out this year? And it seems pretty healthy so far. So I hope we continue with some, great films too alongside that. But so far, there's been not much that has me, like, ripping out my remaining hair. And I know we're coming up on that with Minions soon, which will be the bane of my existence. Just by its existence itself, I'm going to be annoyed by it. But we've also watched some other stuff. Sorry.
What I will say is, like, I'm just quickly, because obviously you had the massive hit that is Michael. You had a very good hit with the Devil Wears Prada 2. Even the Devil Wears Prada 2 is just beating Michael at the box office, if I recall correctly, in some territory. And so I'm kind of looking ahead in May. So you have Mortal Kombat 2, you have the Sheep Detectives. Are they gonna put a huge dent in Michael and Devil Wears Prada 2? I don't think so, personally. You have the Billie Eilish movie that is apparently only $20 million budget, which I think is crazy considering all the technology that James Cameron uses. Like, I would think that would be way higher.
I guess, I guess it has been established, so maybe that's why the cost is now lower. For
you have Obsession, but that's a way smaller movie.
Wait, can I talk about In the Grey? I might be able to talk about it. It's I don't know. I might need to cut this out, or I just blur myself. But that was fine. It was just more.
Another 6 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, it's honestly a bit more, probably more to the 5 out of 10 range. But it's fine. It has some very fun sets. But it's pretty boring overall as a movie. But it's a spectacle. But that's my review of Integrate. I don't know if I can say yet, or if it's still under embargo. But if I can, that's in there, I guess. Sorry, continue.
And then we have, obviously, Mandalorian and Grogu, which is tracking to be the lowest Star Wars opening. I do perhaps think that it's just because people are like, I have to do homework to watch this movie. You have to watch 3 seasons, 3.5.
Yeah, the watching is mandatory. And that probably doesn't,
I see you. And then, obviously, at the end of May, like the 29th, so like very much around that switch of May and June, we have The Backrooms, which is tracking to already double its budget on the opening weekend. And yeah, and then we have Masters of the Universe, which I did see the trailer, but I do think that movie is gonna bomb. Apparently, I will say, I've heard things that movie is actually quite decent on the same level as Dungeons and Dragons, from what I've heard, but I think the marketing is just really bad. But I just don't see it making 500 million, man.
I think a type of movie, even if the Dungeons and Dragons movie were amazing, I think it was just bound to flop. And I think this is the same way that, like, it really doesn't matter how good it is. I don't know how big the interest is for a movie like this. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know. We'll see once we see it if it's actually worth seeing. But yeah, that
I could go further. I could go further into July and
no, but it's interesting to have a look, because we'll be gone for most of all of this, and we'll have a catch up. But looking at this, it doesn't seem like we have that much to catch up with when we get back from Con. It's basically Star Wars, and I don't know when we'll see Backrooms. Probably
am I gonna see the Billie Eilish movie? I don't know.
Yeah, probably with Belgium, you do have a release for Backrooms. I don't think we have one here in Switzerland.
Yeah, we have one in the beginning of June, if I recall correctly.
Fucking bastard, I guess.
Hey, but you have your connections. You'll get a screener, right?
Is it Neon or is it A24? It's A24, right?
It's A24, yeah.
A24 is a bit. I got a connection with Neon. I don't really have one. I went to see Hokum, but yeah, man. We've been watching some stuff. You were gone. For a week, you were like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, he's passed out in the UK."
Well, not a
Like,
week. I've been gone for like
it felt
3.5
like a week.
days.
It felt like every day every hour that you're gone feels like 2. So you were being gone 3.5 days felt like a week.
I can actually talk about some of the things that I've watched in London when I was gone, because I have seen Ray Fiennes act in front of me on the plank, on the woods, bruv. And I must say, it was quite spectacular. And you know, I know he's like a big actor, but still, it's like, god damn it, he's so good at it. And it's quite funny because, so I went to watch Grace Pervades. I've called it that the whole way, but my sister's like, but you have to probably say it in English, so it's like Grace Pervades. But I have no clue how to properly say it. But Ray Fiennes, and it's quite funny because in the play, so Ray Fiennes is like the first actor that got knighted. He has a relationship with another actress that sort of elevates his level and of his performance, and actually dares to critique him, to give him feedback. And there is a scene in that play where she says like, I actually have some notes for you, like not in that way, obviously it's a bit more 18th century and more dialogue, like better written than what I'm saying is what I'm trying. And it's quite funny because when she's giving Ray Fiennes notes on how to act, it's a little bit meta, because we are calling him like one of the greatest actors of these past few years, with obviously Conclave, with 28 years, the Bone Temple, everybody saying like, give this man something. So like that was really fun. Also, can I just quickly say, so for me, it's obviously a struggle to go see theater with my hearing aid. It's like normally, so in the UK, what they seemingly have there is an access card that you can use for everything, seemingly, for like public transport, for discounts or museums or whatever, that type of card. And Belgium doesn't really have that. So what I had to do, because I went to watch 2 things, one we had planned, the other one we sort of improvised on. So like I had to call or like contact the box office for Grace Pervades. We did that a bit too late, because otherwise we could have gotten access seats, which are seats that are naturally closer to the stage for hard of hearing people, for visually impaired people, but we were too late for that. So what you get is something to connect your hearing aid to, unlike they say, oh yeah, you have to put it on the T position, but my hearing aid has never had a T position. I don't know what the fuck a T position is on my hearing aid.
The T position, Kevin.
No, but like, so the only thing what I know, the T position, the thing that I connect my hearing aid to on my PC, like a little device, that device has the T position. But what you have to do, so I have to put that device on my t-shirt and then put something around my neck that it connects with. But I've tried it last year and it was horrible. I think I even tried it the year before that, and it just never worked for me. But obviously my device also has like a jack to jack. So I said like, can I just plug it in? And he was like, actually you can try, yeah. And I did, and it was so much better instead of that stupid T position or whatever the fuck that is. And
what does it use? Does it use like the microphones to get a direct feed?
I don't know. I think it's something like a connecting thing along with the. But it's also the actors are naturally not wearing any microphones on themselves. I think it's more of like a microphone that's directed towards the stage and really like a very directional mic.
I mean, and like I know it's really established, you know, to have all of that stuff set up in like these places that have culture going on all the time. But I still am a bit in awe that like they do have that set up. I think that's really neat, and like, you know, if you can have that in other institutions, like it's really good if that's possible. Like I don't know if they have that on Broadway and stuff like that, but it seems to be.
I assume they do.
Probably.
But every theater is different. Some will actually have.
Wait, was like, any of this at West? Because I've been at West End one time to see Les Mis.
Yeah, West End. Like
yeah,
I've seen.
Bro, that. Oh my god, I loved Les Mis at West End. It was great.
I know, man. So and then afterwards we went to see Hadestown.
Yeah.
Which I do think Hadestown is getting I logged in on Letterboxd because apparently that's getting a release. I think on Hulu or like Disney Plus
It's been very popular.
It's very
right?
popular. On the front they have like watched and seen by over 5 million people worldwide. So like that type of thing. I will say I was quite so you hear the original. So what I was thinking, because with a play and like real theater from Ray Fiennes, obviously very dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
With a musical, it's a bit different because the music can really like overbear the dialogue, especially for me as a hard of hearing person. And so once again, I got a little device that I could connect my thing to, and it did not work the first half. I was like, brother, why is this not? I get them. I'm just listening like this, but I could not understand the dialogue. There is not really dialogue in Hadestown. It's a musical. Everybody's singing the whole time. So I was just like, I'll just watch the play, and when I come back home, I'll listen to the original recording on Spotify with the lyrics next to me, and I'll catch up that way. And by the way, I watched it with Simi. I met up with Simi and was like, Simi, do you want to go? I was like, yeah, sure. Also, but with access tickets, because I'm hard of hearing, I get a 50% discount. So even like the person that comes with me, like 1+1, but that obviously was my sister.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're like, Kevin, I want to see every play with you for 50%.
Yeah, and people might think, oh, why that much? But I feel like I think it's such a great incentive, because like for you, there's any other incentive to say like, oh, I'm just not gonna seek out any of these arts because they're not made accessible to me. But making them accessible, and also giving an incentive to like get people to go see it, that's how you get people back in. And it's like, it's the same with cinemas as well. Like if you want to get young people back in, like there's one artist theater who's like gets a lot of money from the city of Zurich too, but they constantly are like I believe half of their projections are all analog. They do like a ton of that still, and it really is like basic. They don't do new movies, they just do like these series of older stuff.
Yeah.
And usual tickets are like, you gotta adjust it for Switzerland because everything is more expensive. At my local one, it's 15. One out of town that I work for is 18. Usually it's also 18 in Zurich. It's $9 for anyone under 26. And that's how you get people back in, and that's great. Even younger people, when you have a disability that like, sort of shuts you out of these places. I think that's neat, and glad you had a great experience, man, that you got to experience it.
Yeah,
mainly
it was truly the first time that I understood a play from beginning to end. With Grace Pervadis, with Hadestown. Funny enough, the second half, it worked, and the second half of Hadestown is much better than the first, so at least that's a little bit of a rewarding experience.
With National Theatre, what you've enjoyed watching them as well is like the access that they have to the recordings. Yeah. That's a way that you still get to experience it. And it's great that they do have these recordings accessible, that you can get a membership or subscription.
I did want to watch Inter Alia as well with Rosamund Pike, but those tickets were insane. I mean,
we both really liked Prima Facie, which this year,
which is
Cynthia Erivo is doing like a movie version of this this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, interesting. Like Inter Alia is from the same team as Prima Facie. That's why I was quite hyped to see it, but the ticket prices were outrageous, so I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. But yeah.
Look at us talking about theater musicals and live performances on a movie podcast.
Timothy Chalamet could learn something from it.
No, he only is opera, right? Or did he say theater too?
Opera and ballet.
A ballet, yeah.
Opera and ballet, yeah. But when I was in London, I went to the HMV, which my first experience of the HMV was back in 2015, when on a school trip. And I was like, I was just starting collecting movies, so I was like looking at movie shop. I came like with the HMV, and I went to the cellar of the HMV, and it was like full of movies. Like heaven opened up to me. Yeah, 11 years later, you go into the HMV, and the selection is way smaller, a bit more niche in terms of, hey, here's your 101 films, here's your 88 films, here's your Radiance films, here's your Criterion, here's your Arrow video, here's your Indicator, and it does feel a bit like, very label, and the smaller movies don't really get that big of a highlight anymore. Like, really, it's all online these days. But nonetheless, I did buy some movies. Also, the post guy just arrived. I don't know if that's perfect fucking timing.
Oh, he's got some more stuff for you. Literally.
Wait, actually,
Is it still freshly baked, like from the bakery? They still like
oh my god! Yeah, actually, wait.
the Blu-rays are still spinning.
We have more movies that have arrived. Let's go. I don't know how it is in Zurich, but we have the same post guy for like 25 years. Like, I've not known a single other postman than him. Shout out to postman Benny, he's called.
Okay. No, it's different for me every time. I don't know how they sort it here, but it's all over the place.
Yeah, and like he even once came to our primary school. So like, hey, I'm the post guy.
Hello. Well, I don't know. You don't live in like that small of a town, but
oh shit. Yes, I am opening the package. The package that has been in post-service hell because we have strikes. This is way better package than I thought. Okay, cool. Holy shit, this is well packaged. I love how this is a live unboxing all of a sudden. It's a big physical media because like I wasn't I wasn't sure if the postage was gonna arrive before or after the recording. Guess what? It came during. So I was talking about London, talking a bit about the decay of physical media in these physical shops. So it's a bit of a shame. You really only see merch. So I met up with my friend in England, Simi, at the HMV. And he was like, oh, what's this poster? So we were looking through the posters, but some of them were AI. And it's like, oh, already? No.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, yeah, for example, there was a poster of all like rappers. And funny enough, like P. Diddy and Kanye. But were like in that. But
you want on
you
the
know,
poster,
like the
right?
last meal.
Up on your wall.
Painting.
Yeah.
You know, like that was, imagine that would be with black rappers. So like Biggie, like that.
I've seen that type of.
And guess who was Jesus? Before, yeah. Guess who was Jesus?
Kendrick?
Yeah. Yeah. And the shoes were like Nike, but it was AI, so you like it's sort of they was totally off. Anyway, movies. It's quite fun for you because you don't know what's coming up.
I got no clue what you got. I specifically told you to not tell me.
I have memories from the same director as Akira. What?
No, I'm just excited because we recently screened that at a theater because we got a monthly thing of every first Wednesday we screen an anime film at the theater, and that was the one that we screened in March, I believe. So I saw parts of that. It looked incredible.
Yeah, it's an anthology movie apparently. So yeah. Then I have Tokyo Godfathers. Quite a good movie. Have already seen this, but this was $5. And when a movie is $5, you are obligated to take it, especially in this economy. I don't know if you know this movie, River's Edge, a movie with Keanu Reeves, Crispin Glover, and Dennis Hopper as Feck. Like I didn't swear. That's literally his name. Like and Dennis Hopper as Feck. It's not. Okay, whatever. Then I have a documentary called Krabi 2562. Looks very curious.
Wait, who's that on the? Is that the?
But it's a movie from Thailand. So
okay. I thought it looked like a TV personality on the
I can tell you what the back reads. It doesn't read the synopsis. Fertility rites, a severed finger, prehistoric lovers, a cinema reborn. That's what the back reads.
Why did you get this one? Does it look intriguing to you, or did you have it?
It did quite look intriguing to me. Also, it was in a 2 for 15 type movie, and I was like, I really want the other movie that I have not yet shown, but I want to get the deal. And this one looked the best one out of them all, and the most intriguing one. Like, I actually am quite curious to this one. But the reason that I bought that is because to get this next one.
On physical media? I saw someone rewatch that recently, and I was wondering, did they just randomly rewatch it? Maybe they got it on physical too.
I just love the cardboard version of this. Like, the art is so cool.
Yeah.
Now, I've told you the story of when I watched this with friends, right?
Yeah, that they were
like
disinterested.
That nobody was into it. Like, and I had to go 20 minutes, like half an hour into the movie. We were like, can we play Mario Kart? And then I watched the movie on my own, in the laptop, in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, those are all the movies that I bought in London, and I didn't buy too many in London because there was a sale going on Wearwaves, on Amazon, all that. Like in the beginning, at the end of March to April, so there weren't many sales going on when I actually went to London, and I knew that I bought a lot of movies, so that's why I also didn't overspend, because I'm going to Cannes, man. I need to save money.
Cannes, man. That's fine. Yeah. And you need to get you need to get at least one gun hat as well in like a different variation. Like we gotta get you some gun merch too. Like you can't leave without that.
All right, I think I have 14 movies here, if I'm correctly. Yeah. I know.
Are we gonna do a speed run or will we be here for half an hour?
Let's do a speed run. And you should do a reaction, right?
Okay.
The Sting of Death. Looked quite curious. Directed by Kohei Oguri.
Okay.
Oguri, yeah. I didn't even know which movie I'm pulling out, by the way. The Shape of Night. Looks very good.
Seen that poster before, yeah.
Yeah. It looks quite the same at the Moment of Romance, which is a fucking great movie. I have Eduardo Coutinho's Man Marked for Death 20 years later. Again, some of these movies I never heard of, but like this one is quite highly rated on Letterboxd as well. So yeah. Also, can I say the top here reads Bringing Back Lost Masterpieces Lovingly Restored. So
that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice indeed.
It's like freshly baked cookies, but the movie version of it, you know.
Obi Oba, The End of Civilization.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, that's one crazy looking.
Also a 2K restoration. Then we have My Heart Is That Eternal Rose. Also, look how good these covers look. Like the three that I pulled out that are Asian are all from Radiance. So then I have Funike, Show Some Love, You Losers. I love these titles. And most of the sales were on Blu-ray that were World Cinema. So,
yeah.
Hey. Next one, My 20th Century, a film by Hideko Enyedi. You know that director's name?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Silent Friend, yeah.
From Silent Friend, exactly. So, the moment I saw that name, I was like, yep. We have talked about movies starring this actor quite a lot over the past few months. It's Chow Yun-fat, God of Gamblers. Yeah, looks pretty good. Fellini, 8.5. Don't need to say anything more.
I got that in the back too with the Fellini box set from Criterion.
I have Dogville.
Yeah.
You know, quite a classic.
Of course.
Last one to you. I have Nomad, a movie by Patrick Yum, 4K restoration again. Yeah, this stack is gonna go above, and this is already know.
No, goodbye, Elmo.
Life is cheap, but toilet paper is expensive. Again, these titles. So
is
intriguing.
that a movie released in 2020 or?
I will say the back look is even crazier. Like this is all text.
That's okay. That's almost like Almodovar, like how red.
Yeah. The case is closed. Forget it. Again, these titles are quite banging, I must say.
It's crazy. Like, do you go onto Letterboxd or like do you see these just randomly browsing these sites, like, or is it like new releases from these?
I don't know.
Genuinely, you bring up movies I have never heard of. It's crazy. Like never.
Hanging Garden, a film by Toshiaki Toyoda. By the way, are you like looking up every movie that I say on Letterboxd?
I'm adding it to the watch list because I know that you'll make me watch them sooner than later, so I might as well. Might as well already. Not in a bad way, make me watch them, but you have them, so it's the reason for me.
You've seen this one, so you don't need to add this one.
La Chimera. Yeah.
So apparently the guy that did this poster recently passed away. I saw it on Letterboxd, so hey, shout out. Then we have two remaining. The Land of Hope. What's Life After Disaster? Again, some of these movies are like third window films, and I do really like third windows films. Like they're indeed more into Asian cinema, but they've been nailing their work, man. Again, like I would love it if these distributors like sent me Blu-rays so I could review them, but that's the dream in it. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
One day.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, also a movie, the Executioner. I don't know if you've seen this one.
I've seen this one. Yeah, wasn't this one that played that gun? I'm pretty sure that I saw it.
That's a remake. No. That's the OG. The remake. Yeah, this is the OG one.
No, I think I haven't seen the original.
Yeah. So yeah, those were all the movies. I don't know if you had a standout or like which one you were like, oh.
Well, the most I was like, was Memory right at the beginning. Memories or Memory? I forget which one's called. And there was a whole bunch of films that I don't know, but like I think the God of Gamblers looks quite interesting, and those two by Radiant, were they like The Shape of the Night and the other one?
Like there are a few Radiance one.
And I mean, I've only seen one movie where Miyuki Kuwano has been in, but she seems to be the lead here. As like I've seen her in Redbeard basically, but from that poster alone, it looks sort of modern, but also that 90s aesthetic of like Wong Kar-wai. But this is a movie from the 60s. So this one is probably the most intriguing to me.
And again, this is like one of the best deals that I've done because these movies were like in a 2 for 16 like British pounds, and some of these movies are 16 pounds on their own already. So it's like 1 + 1 free. So that's why I honestly don't buy movies that much in bulk anymore. But like I just had to because this is such interesting world cinema to me, like movies I've never heard of, and that I now own physically, so I can watch them anytime. Just great stuff overall.
Great stuff. And with those releases, you also are guaranteed to get good subtitles. For some films, you can't rent them anywhere, but you can. There's ways for you that we also, we can say we use those ways sometimes. But there's also like a level of quality that sometimes is a bit, lackluster. If you have it on physical media, there is a bit of more of a check that you actually get a version where you get good subtitles, especially, and that work is often underrated. And we'll see it in Gun as well. Like sometimes these subtitles still change after we see that movie with like the French and English ones we get, and sometimes the quality also varies. It's also funny at press screenings here in Switzerland when there's German ones, and I usually like when it's in English, I don't read them obviously, but sometimes I spot mistakes, and it's so like I love doing it. And then saying like, "Oh, that's not my problem." It's not my problem. Like I don't know. I've done that before. Like early days, I was like writing down. I was like, at that time, like I saw a typo, and I was like, "Never mind, not my problem."
Just very quickly, the Big Heat. That'll be the next cinematic doppelganger episode. That's because it's still in the section of what we've been watching. That kind of been derailed by my huge physical media
collection. Huge package.
Yeah. Also, I have finally seen Nemurubaka, Hypnic Jerks. So obviously, was really looking forward to that movie last year, but could never really get any good subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
But there seemed to be finally some decent subtitles out there, so I was able to finally watch it. And I did really like it. Yugo Sakamoto really has something with putting two characters in front of you that obviously don't really mishmash that well together, but they're fun to watch regardless. No killing in this one, no assassins in this one. Just two people that are really trying to find their own, like themselves in the world. Mm-hmm. And you have one friend that is kind of, like trying to like garner some status, like to try to go up into the world, and then you have her friend that is sort of like still being at the bottom of this barrel, and she's like sort of complaining that she's at the bottom of the barrel, but never really trying to get out of there, to her friend's frustration. Yeah, it's just really relatable, unfortunately a bit. But yeah, I must say I'm really impressed with Yugo Sakamoto, man.
Yeah. I want to see this one as well, but you were saying the subtitles you had were like a bit lackluster. So
oftentimes I did have to switch between two.
Yeah. So I might wait a bit longer until I see it myself.
But I'm finally happy. I put it in my top 2026 list. It's currently at number, because I did add some movies. It's in the top 10. The top 10.
Wasn't it in your top 10 for most anticipated too? Was that?
Yeah. No, that was Flame Union.
Flame
that's
Union.
The newest one, because that's also Hitman. an assassin. So I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I did add a few of last year's movies. Rose in Nevada is number 1. Silent Friend, I Love That Remains. I did add Omaha as well. So it's Rose of Nevada, Silent Friend, Love That Remains. 28 Years Later, Project Hail Mary, Nirvana Band the Movie, Omaha, Epic, the Elvis Presley in Concert. Then it's Nemurubaka. And then it's Pizza Movie at number 10.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you, man. I've talked way too much.
No, you're good. It was all interest. It's not like you had nothing to show for it. You had some great Blu-rays and stuff to show us, which is nice. I haven't done a book corner in a while. Just because I think I'll just show you not everything I get on everything I'm reading. Because it's mainly still a movie podcast here. But if there's a relation to films, then I'll show you. And I ordered this a long time ago. Cry to Heaven. If you are familiar with the director Tom Ford, who has done A Single Man, Nocturnal Animals, and then this one isn't, like, we put it onto our most anticipated list. It's not sure if this one still comes out.
I think I already moved.
I believe I think there's no actual like details on it too much yet, but like it's Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Adele, Kieran Hines, George McKay, Mark Strong, Colin Firth, Paul Bettany, Owen Cooper, Hunter Schafer, Thandie Newton, Daryl McCormack. Like the cast just doesn't end. And I ordered this like a month ago, and it was like delayed. So when we're back from Gun, this is going to be one of the books that I'm going to be reading from Anne Rice. And I have we'll see if it comes out this year or next year. I'll just I'll be ready. Yeah.
Apparently from World of Real on March 23rd, 2026, Cry to Heaven wrap production in Rome.
I did see on all of the videos that Cole did recently on the Oscar Expert. Yeah. I can go by him because he usually stays informed on this stuff. I think he put it in a lot of his predictions for the Oscars. So I think he probably also heard some stuff that it's set to come out. And it's also set at Venice, right? 18th century. So if they have it ready, it would premiere in Venice very likely.
Venice, 100%, yeah.
And I have a few more that are from Cannes that I think I haven't shown you this, the Diego Luna movie. He's adapting this book, Eating Ashes. So
have you read it?
I haven't read it yet. That's why it looks so new still.
Yeah.
But because one of the books I'm currently reading, The Birthday Party, is the last one in competition that's screening on like the second week on Thursday or something like that, or Friday. I don't know, Thursday, I believe. I do have a bit more time. That's the longer one. It's almost 600 pages long, I believe. So I'm gonna move ahead and read some other books first, like, for example, the opening film of the Semaine de la Critique in Waves from A.J. Dungo. There's a co-production that is actually going to be in French. It's a French-Belgium US co-production, an animated film, because this is all based on a graphic novel, which I honestly, when I'm done editing all of this stuff today and prepping my Gun schedule, very likely that I'll just not rush my way through, but make my way through this whole book, because it's probably going to be a bit of a quicker read, even though it's like, it's pretty hefty. There's pictures, so I can read. So I can just look. I mean, and then the last one that also arrived late, because both of these I had ordered a while ago. They were both like, I don't know when they released. There was like supposed to be a release for this one in April, and then it was like delayed to May, and then it wasn't even sure if it's gonna come. But Kiyoshi Kurosawa is not doing like a really dark movie here. It seems to be more like a period thing. I got no clue. Mm-hmm. I'll have more of a clue when I've read this, The Samurai and The Prisoner. This one is not playing in competition anywhere. I believe it's like
out of competition,
just like straight up out of competition. And I'm also looking forward to this. I got a few like pretty bigger books to read, but none of them are like super. I got the really big ones in the back, but I think for some of them I will do some of the work of reading them, not even at the festival, but post festival as we do our reviews. Yeah. So I'll use them as reference. But
I would love it for you when the movie's just not. No.
Bring it out.
No. Like it's just like when the movie's not interesting, light, right? And you're like, right, time to catch up.
Yeah.
And you use the light of the screen, like you don't even have your like light pen. You're just like, I time to read, bro.
I in tragic news that light pen passed away last year, and I can't, like, there's no replacement. It just stopped working. It's like when the battery runs out, I don't know how you replace them. I think you just need to order a new one, which is so wasteful. I was like, okay, I guess I won't order a new one. And it also was way too bright. Like,
I know.
Couldn't use it without disrupting people.
Which I don't know why you can't put that brightness down or upwards, but hey.
Yeah, you could just, like, at the top, like, instead of bringing it out, maybe have like a ring that you could adjust it to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not possible. But yeah.
You did a lot of can prep, like you watched a lot of movies from directors that are debuting their work at Cannes, and I'm most curious to The Lost City of Z because I love The Lost City of Z. I watched that movie with a friend of mine in 2017. I absolutely adored it. He was like, "This shit is trash." I just knew right then we were built different. Tell me all about it.
Well, I think I'm not up there with as much of love that you have to film as probably you have for it, but I also don't dislike the film at all. I think Charlie Hunnam, it has been a sort of underrated leading man because I think he can be a bit generic, but like, or appear generic, but he can bring these layers of intensity, especially, and he's sort of, I feel like they early shoehorn him into the late stages of like a Liam Neeson type role where he's just like, he gets sort of the lead roles in action films, but nothing a bit more. And here he's like such a tragic figure that I think there's not, to me, a ton of nuance to his character. He is this guy on a quest at like the detriment like of his life, but ultimately because very later on he's like validated with documents just in the last couple of years right before he started making this film that he was actually onto something. To sort of validate all of this, like, everything that he gave. And as a period piece in the 1920s, I think it, like, sort of works quite well. And sort of really these cuts that it makes in between when time passes, it feels like pretty, like, hard on the sort of toll that it takes. And I think that Sienna Miller has a really interesting role here. It was like the whole time I was watching this, it's a tragedy that Horizon Chapter 2 is not coming out, and it's like currently buried in legal battle, so part 3 and 4 will probably never happen, and I don't know if they'll even release the second one. And then also Robert Pattinson, a really small role, I gotta say, like, it feels like that character is bound to have a bigger moment, but it really isn't going that much further. So it's interesting.
How about Spider-Man?
And Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I think he served the story well. He didn't blow me away with this role, but it was interesting. I think I was well entertained with a film like this, and I think a better version of it would have me like really engrossed in it. But I sort of like the filmmaking behind it. It's very solid. Like, I think James Gray knows how to make a movie, but I think there hasn't been one where I was like absolutely sold. Like, even Ad Astra, I'm not as high as some other people are emotionally. I'm a bit left cold with some of that stuff, but I really appreciate his filmmaking. And yeah, because you were praising it instead of watching Two Lovers, I actually did end up watching The Lost City of X. That was all for you, and it's the only one that I wrote down because I watched a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's more in preparation for rounding out our actual watches, and I don't need to mention. I think those mainly. The one other thing that you'll probably end up seeing is Western. And I think that's the one that I would still say, because it's my favorite out of the recent watches from Valeska Grisebach. And I think that's like the one that's going to be the most low key of all of the films. It premieres pretty late into the festival, which usually is an indication that we have sort of all of our awards picks. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes home empty-handed at the festival. But The Dreamed Adventure, Das geträumte Abenteuer, is what she's doing in there, and it seems to be like in the same region, in like this border region in Bulgaria, where also Western takes place, where she just explores this like small town through these German construction workers who come in, and Meinhard, who's also named Meinhard in the film. Like, there's a sort of documentary-esque thing to it all, that like this movie's only 2 hours long. Her next movie at Cannes is like, I think, 2.5, but these 2 hours feel long, but they feel lived in. I can't wait for you to see it, to also bring that discussion to her new film. And I like someone who had never seen a film of before, I'm now pretty excited to check out her new film in Cannes.
You've got two sort of movies. You got two things to talk about that are both on a first name basis.
Yeah.
We'll leave the newest one on the side for now because you've finally seen Michael.
Oh, I did see Michael.
I'm getting some dogging in the comments. Like 4 out of 10, you are crazy.
I loved it. Michael forever.
But this guy gave it a 3 out of 10. So hey, do you have
but
anything
you gave
to
it
add?
a 2 out of 10 publicly, and you're making me give it a 3 out of 10. And you're gonna clip this and so like put it in response to all of the comments. I was like, no, I actually liked it more than this guy. You throw me out to the wolves. I see what you're doing here. I think this was so hollow, so commercial, so nothing. Really just a bunch of music numbers that didn't touch me and didn't make
still bangers though, but you know.
The music is good, but the music's always been good. But that's no justification to make a like such a lame ass movie. Like I don't know, man. That was something. I wasted my time at the theater for this one.
Can you tell me what you thought about Colin Domingo though, and his like specific tongue acting? Like he does tongue act quite a lot in that movie. I don't know if you
it didn't. I think it's just like it's like, to me it's like it didn't stand out that much. I had so many other concerns with this film that I was like, I'm not going into like the tiniest bit of like his mouth. I'm staying on the whole body. Something's wrong with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like that moment that you described of like him saying like, no, we need to push back. But even that felt so like, oh, we got to give him a moment where Michael makes a decision and he's the creative. Like it felt all so incredibly hollow, not giving me anything. And even what you were teasing that like we sort of are at the verge of exploring it, but then always cut away. Like it feels so like harsh and nothing, and like it's so disgustingly commercial. It's like it takes anything that would be of nuance of talking about an actual person of this caliber and fame in any meaningful way. It is really a disappointment.
Did you see what Spike Lee said?
I think he liked it, but that guy has some horrible movie taste, man. He makes some decent movies. He makes some great movies. He has made some incredible movies, one of the best movies of all time, but he's also made some shit ones, and he usually has pretty shit opinions, I gotta say.
He said like, oh, you're criticizing it for the time period it's not even talking about. It ends at 1988. I loved it. I watched it twice. But then like people was also commented like, is this coming from the same guy that was said like, oh, why are you not showing the atomic bomb in Oppenheimer? It's quite funny.
Yeah. But again, hey, it's making a ton of money. A lot of people are having fun at the theater. I feel like it's those things can coexist of us critiquing it, and I think some people are just not wired that way, that like if they're a fan of something, everyone's gotta say it's actually good, otherwise their fandom is sort of invalidated, which is a stupid sentiment. But yeah, man.
Let's go away from Michael. Let's go to Gary.
SpongeBob?
Like finally a standalone episode from the snail of SpongeBob.
Oh my god, did you have that joke, or because I said SpongeBob? That was your plan as well?
That was my own plan.
Oh my god, I said SpongeBob before you said that. That was actually perfect. Because that was not planned. That was very funny.
That was not planned.
But yeah, you haven't seen. Have you seen anything of The Bear, or like nothing?
I think I've seen the first season, or like at least the first few episodes. Yeah, but never really continued. Yeah,
this is a sort of standalone prequel thing that they just dropped over on Hulu, a 1-hour special. Out of nowhere, without any sort of preamble. And
can I just quickly say,
yeah,
maybe not without, because John Bernthal and Eben Moss are doing that Dog Day Afternoon play. So yeah,
I guess they already were like in that sort of mindset of working together. The thing is, people adore The Bear and love it and praise it, and even some things that I didn't enjoy about The Bear, people are like, seemingly that fandom is very strong. And I see some people then overcorrect and say like, oh, this whole season is bad. But I feel like with The Bear and how much it tries to be and how different it wants to like sort of reflect the seasons and episodes on different bases, it is very interesting TV. But sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. I think this is very solidly made, and I think it's an interesting exploration of sort of like male loneliness, friendship, hurtful, like someone who has a tendency to then ultimately end up committing suicide with John Bernthald's character that you see is sort of earlier. Like, I think this takes place a couple of years before. It's not like immediate. The way that it sort of ends, it does feel like immediate in how we connect it, because it also connects back to the series with like the bookend of the episode, which is a really interesting thing. Like, what the show has always done best is this kinetic feeling of editing that is both like really intense, right? That's what it's known for, the type of ways that it's showing the cooking, especially in the first and partly even still in the second season, where like it went a bit more experimental with like slower takes and in the further seasons. But it also has such an emotional groundwork that it wants to lay for all of these characters that I'm not always fully buying in, because like you have to indulge them a lot. It is daring in the way that it's also not depicting two very likable characters. Like, I thought they were both like really annoying in this, but I was entertained. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't like the best single hour of TV that I've seen ever. I gave it like a 7 out of 10, but I think for a lot of people this will be like an 8 at least, even 9, 10 out of 10. It's
kind like of 4.0 on Letterboxd as well, because it's justified on being on Letterboxd because it's a standalone episode. It's sort of a short film.
The thing is with TV, sometimes the love for it is like quite strong. Even like overrated.
Prejudiced?
Like, overrated feels like such a harsh term, but like because you buy into a show, I feel like the engagement with it is usually skews higher than it is with movies. And I think with specials as well, there's like often like people feel the urge to like then show that, because like there's not a lot of other places where you can rate series. So often it is a bit skewed in what it actually would be if you sort of try to find a more objective sort of average. Not an objective because everything's subjective, but like sort of an average here. But I think it's really solid. I think it's well made, and John Bernthal and Eben Moss Bachrach are like incredible. I'd love to see them do Dog Day Afternoon. I'd actually love to see that. Is it on Broadway that they're doing it, or?
Yeah, they're doing it on Broadway.
Gotta go
Otherwise,
to New York,
I would have
man.
gone seen it, bro. Otherwise, I'm gonna send.
I'd be so interested to go see that as well, because they're two great actors.
And again, recordings don't really happen there in America. It's really only recently with Hamilton, with Hadestown that they are doing recordings. But again, those are more musicals. I would really love to see an initiative like National Theater Live in America on Broadway instead of only on the West End.
I don't know. Do you think why that is? Because like the UK seems to be all about access, and like, you know, they seem to be, hey, there's a TV show, you do 1 or 2 seasons, you do it well, end it. And maybe it's just a different approach in the States where like it's like, ooh, it's supply and demand. All of that stuff always needs to be located just on the East Coast, and you gotta go there to see that stuff. And it needs to be hyper elite and like sort of separated from the commercialized zone of LA. And I think that's just like robbing us of so much art that we don't get to experience, and it seemingly is lost. But it makes it even a bigger deal if something like Hamilton then ends up being, you know, released down the line.
I would, for example, love to see Glenn Ross with that was with Bob Odenkirk, Kieran Culkin, Bill Burr. I mean, it's like, oh, really interesting actors to portray those characters. But
honestly, it's such a selling point to be living in those cities, right? It's like to have access to that. It is a bit of a flex, but feels like the rest of the world is missing out quite a bit.
Do we have anything else to talk about?
There was the thing, like the Pit actress, Issa, I think she's doing a Broadway show as well at the moment. And like recently, I think some people were like sort of heckling or like interrupting the show in a way of like saying phrases from the show. And she's like said like, you know, stop doing that. That's fucking cringe. You're like disrupting the art. Which is like, it's crazy that you have to say that. It's so crazy. These people are not banned forever from these places. Hopefully
like,
they are.
For example, with the West End, I know Cynthia Rivio is doing her Dracula. Like where she's playing 23 characters. No Jupe and Sadie Sink were doing their version of Romeo and Juliet. Greg Clark, most famously from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avengers, also in that place. So yeah,
I think the bridge has never been closer with a TV movie actor going on stage, and I think that connection that you get directly that isn't through a scream and seemingly quite hollow is something that feels a bit more. Maybe it's just because you've just done it recently and maybe we're a tad bit more aware of it, but it feels like there's an actual like I don't know. There's a demand for it. There's a need for it, for those interactions of like that type of performance to definitely still be alive. And it's not just because people outraged of like, oh, Timothy Chalamet said this and that is outdated anymore. It has nothing to do with that. It always was that, and always I think will be that sort of. I don't think that's ever going away.
I honestly think it's a bit more of a symbiosis relationship there, because like screen actors going to theater and selling out shows like really helps the theaters themselves, because sometimes we have an interesting prospect, this is our cast, and then the theater or like the production show thing, I think we need someone bigger to like sort of sell the show.
True. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of criticism that like the jobs aren't really there with just theater actors. But also like a cast like The Pit cast a lot of people from live theater because they needed people to adjust quickly and do long scenes and always be sort of ready in a scene, like to fully act them out the whole time, because like there's cameras all around, even a bit more than a multicam like sitcom does, which is really interesting because you see a lot of these actors now in between the seasons go to do these live shows. That's why like Issa is doing one right now, and I think there's two others from that show who also are doing Broadway stuff right now. But yeah, brother, long episode. Feels like it was warranted for us reviewing 6 movies and a bunch more.
No podcast last week as well.
Exactly, to fill that in. But we'll be also gone next week because we won't do something from Cannes. Yeah. We are watching about 6 movies a day. So hopefully. Yeah, fingers crossed it all works out. 5 to 6 movies a day, depending on how long they run for. There's a few longer ones in there, but apart from a few, nothing that is like,
I love how someone on Twitter said Fatherland's gonna win the grand jury prize because the jury is just gonna be happy there's a movie that's 82 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunately it's like, a lot of like long competition films, but there were years that like with Killers of the Flower Moon, I think that played out of competition if I'm not mistaken, and
I don't know.
That was like really long, and that year we had like multiple 3.5 hour long movies.
Yeah.
That was the year that Lachlan was there with me. I went 2 years by myself. I'm very happy that I got some support there, because you need that emotional support. And again, if you were at the very end of this podcast, so if like this episode, not the podcast, I felt a bit more drastic than I edited this on. But yeah, if you run into us at the festival, feel free to say hello. Love to meet people there, and feels nice to go back there and feel familiar at the festival. And hopefully, I can bring you into the circle there too with all the people from Cannes. It's the biggest festival of the film festival of the year, and it's very exciting.
Yep. Looking forward to my first experience. Losing my virginity at Cannes, my Cannes virginity, I don't know.
Let's quickly run over of what you can watch instead, like while we're gone, because we'll have something out on the day that we are starting Cannes off. On May 12th, you can see our short review of La Libertad. We did that in preparation. Kevin's pick, great pick. Movie wasn't that great, but we reviewed it pretty quickly. And then on the 19th, we are watching, and we are talking about Leviathan. Looking forward to Minotaur, and then the week after we're back from Cannes on the 26th. If we can make that work, it might be something where it might be the
27th. Come on, man, we can do it.
You think we can still do it in that? Okay. Fair. I might need to be ready to then watch Sweet Bean, which was the selection for that. We can already give that away. You're gonna have the Big Heat, the cinematic doppelgangers, while we're gone, and we can tease you already with the next episode of that if you wanna prepare for that. We also are talking about The Way Back, because by then we'll be back from Cannes, and we'll talk about the movie from 2013 and the one from 2020, but that will release shortly after we are back from there. But that's it for this week, and we'll see you soon.
Cut.